Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I have learned as I've grown into the person that I am today. It has been quite a day, let me just say. Do you ever have those days where you're just like, that as peaceful and serene as you get, it's just like, I'm having one of those days. And I really need some really good meditations. So I have not read the Daily Book of Positive Quotations or the Language of Letting Go today. I haven't even opened them. So I said a little prayer before I did this meditation, and I was like, please, God, my higher power, give me a meditation that will be really useful for me today, that will really help me. I say that often before I do my meditations, because then sometimes I hear something that I really, really need to hear, and it kind of clears my mind a little bit to be open to the message, so I'm hoping that that will happen. I'm going to start with the Daily Book of Positive Quotations. Now, this will be interesting if I do this, and both meditations have absolutely nothing to do with anything in my life at the moment. So, I don't know, but a little seed for thought, and you can, or is it the word, seed for thought? But we can, you know, plant that seed and come up with it later. So, okay, March 22nd. That's today, March 22nd. Perspective. We are all something, but none of us are everything. Blaise Pascal. Do we think too much of ourselves or too little? We may have tendencies towards one end of the spectrum or the other. Or we may go back and forth between two extremes, convinced of our importance one day and our insignificance the next. We all have a place in the world that is significant. We all matter. The trick is not to think that we matter more than anyone else in the world. I can be happy with my place in the world without distorting it one way or the other, one way or another. Interesting meditation for today. And I kind of just apply it to, like, as I'm like reading it, I like apply it to what's going on in my life in my head. And it's interesting because I kind of was thinking about my mom, actually. And, you know, there was a period of my mom's life where she was kind of dealing with, like, people talking about her. But it was only like a few people. It wasn't like everybody, you know? And I remember that my mom and I had this conversation, and I said to her, she was like, I just don't know what to do, and they're always talking about me, and blah, 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 whatever, and all this kind of stuff. And I go, you know, Mom, I go, I know you think that, like, the whole world is talking about you, but, like, you're really not that important in the grand scheme of things. Like, you're important to you, and you're important to me, and you're important to the family and your friends, but, like, the whole world does not stop and think about it. It's like the world is not rotating around your head, you know? And it's kind of like, think about where you're at, you know, in the world, and that, you know, like, we just sometimes, I think, it's not even that we think we're more important than anybody else, or that our value is more than somebody else, or less than somebody else, which I struggle with that a lot, thinking I'm just not as important as somebody else or whatever. Sometimes it's thinking that maybe the things that we do and say really affect more of the world around us out there than it really, really does. And in the grand scheme of things, if you really look at the entire world, okay, we will come and we will go, and but for yet a small amount of us will make a small dent on this entire earth, right? And even though that's a sad statement about life, it's the truth, you know? And many of us will make a dent on this earth by leaving other generations behind with children, or, you know, doing great scientific things or artwork or whatever. And, you know, many people live quiet, simple lives, and they will come and go, and other than their stories being passed down by other people, won't have probably a huge impact on the world except for the choices that they made while they were alive. And I think that, you know, sometimes I look at those people that probably feel pretty insignificant in the world and probably feel like they don't really have any impact. And there are some of my friends, you know, that live very quiet, simple lives. They get up, they make a pot of coffee in the morning, and they go to a meeting, they read their meditations and pray in the morning, and, you know, they go out to lunch with somebody, and, you know, they work a 12-step program, they have friends, they have, you know, Sunday dinner with their family, and there's something very admirable to me about that life, you know, that very simple life. And the impact that they've left on me is in mentoring this life of simplicity and gratitude that I want for myself. So maybe it's not, I don't know, in thinking less of ourselves or thinking more of ourselves. Maybe it's in looking to others and what their value and what their worth is. We all have value and we all have worth. But we're not the most important person in the room, and we're not the least important person in the room, ever. And we have to remember that. And this idea of who's important and who's not, like, when do we decide that? You know, I remember years and years and years ago, the year that Schindler's List won, there was a documentary about the Holocaust that won, and when the director won for the documentary, he gave, I know, Boo Radley, he gave the Academy Award to the woman that he had, like, interviewed for the documentary, and she was a Holocaust survivor. And when she accepted the award, she said something to the effect of, I've asked myself every day for the last 50 years, why me? I am no different, in regarding her being able to survive. And I think it's interesting, you know, when we look at the world that way, you know, why do some of us survive certain horrible tragedies and others don't? You know, why do some of us have so much loss in our lives and others don't? Does it mean I'm more important than somebody else, or they're more important than me? Or is the idea of importance as a human quality just a pointless attribute whatsoever? And I kind of go along with that, you know? It just isn't that big of a deal. And I think that at the end of the day, what we have to realize is we have to think consciously, and I am really try to do this more on a regular basis, thinking consciously about what I'm putting out there in the world and what dent do I want to put in the world, you know, like what do I want people to remember of me? What do I want people to say of me and things like that? There's always going to be people out there that are going to give you glowing compliments, and there's always going to be people out there that are never going to give you one compliment and can't stand you. And probably we can't do anything about either one of those, right? But we can do a little bit of good every day and think about the things, you know, that we're doing. Maybe that's what I needed to think about today, you know, is get out of myself and help somebody else a little bit. Help somebody else a little bit today that maybe needs a little encouragement, and get out of my head, you know. And that's what I've been taught, is that when I'm focusing on self, I need to get out of self. So, all right, let's get on to the next meditation. And that is March 22nd from The Language of Letting Go by Melody Beatty. Do you ever just feel like, this is such a long meditation, do you ever, oh God, do you ever just feel like you need to stop and like just take a breath sometimes, you know? March 22nd, letting go of being a victim. It's okay to have a good day, really. It's okay to be doing okay and to feel like our life is manageable and on track. Many of us have learned as part of our survival behaviors that the way to get to the attention and approval we want is to be victims. If life is awful, too difficult, unmanageable, too hard, unfair, then others will accept, like, and approve of us, we think. We may have learned this from living and associating with people who also learned to survive by being a victim. We are not victims. We do not need to be victimized. We do not need to be helpless and out of control to get the attention and love we desire. In fact, the kind of love we are seeking cannot be obtained that way. We can get the love we really want and need by only owning our power. We learn that we can stand on our own 2 feet, even though it sometimes feels good to lean a little. We learn that the people we are leaning on and are not holding, we learn that the people we are leaning on are not holding us up. They are standing next to us. We all have bad days. Days when things are not going the way we like. Days when we have feelings or sadness and fear. But we can deal with our bad days and darker feelings in ways that reflect self-responsibility rather than victimization. So true. It's okay to have a good day too. We might not have as much to talk about, but we'll have more to enjoy. God, help me let go of my need to be a victim. Help me let go of my belief that to be loved and get attention, I need to be a victim. Surround me with people who love me when I own my power. Help me start having good days and enjoying them. You can't see it, but Boo Radley started licking the page of the book while I was reading it. Oh, what a powerful meditation, you know? I don't prescribe to this idea of being a victim, but I have at times in my life. And, you know, justifiably, I thought that I had every right to be that. What I know today is that's fine. You know, there are many situations in my life that things have happened to me that I absolutely didn't ask for it, and it wasn't fair, and I didn't deserve it. Many, recent, you know, even. But I don't learn much from sitting back and just blaming others and pointing the finger. I just don't, you know? And at the end of the day, that's why inventory is so important for me. I have to look at my part in that, and what did I do, and who am I in that situation, and who am I going forward? And inventory isn't just about looking at what my part is in that situation. Inventory is also about deciding what I'm going to do with that situation as I go forward. You know, I think asking myself the question, you know, do I want to be a victim, is a really valuable question in any situation that you're going through, you know? It's like, do I want to be a victim in this situation? And, you know, people are very, very quick to always say, I'm not a victim, I'm not a victim. And then we act out in victimizing ways, or, you know, we victimize ourselves in certain ways, you know, we come out and do that. And I think that, like, I've done that in the past, and it doesn't make me feel very good. In fact, it keeps me stuck, you know? And it just makes me feel like, poor me, and there's a, you know, a recovery statement. It's like, poor me, another drink, right? I don't want to be, like, in that state of mind. I just don't, you know? And I don't want to... I don't want to sit around and feel like I'm finger pointing constantly when there are things that I can do to improve my life. And at the end of the day, I only have control over what I do, not what others do. And victimizing yourself is about blaming other people about what they did to you. And I don't need that in my life. I think to feel sorry for myself during something I've gone through, whether it's like a breakup or something, and feel like I've gone through something, that's not playing the victim, okay? I think belaboring a point over and over and over again is playing the victim. You know, it's like, okay, at some point, like, everybody has responsibility in some things. You know, let's just be for real. And today, I have to look at those things that I'm responsible for because I want to grow as a human being and I want to grow as a person and have the best life possible. When I'm sitting in victimization, I do not feel very great about the world. I just don't. I feel like, the whole world has mistreated me, and why doesn't anybody see it? And I've done that at many points in my life, you know, and I don't get a lot out of that. It's just not a great feeling. And in fact, I think the emotional roller coaster is a little self-deprecation, you know? It's like, it's a little bit like, at the end of the day, it's like, well, okay, you know, it's not a great feeling to feel that. And any of you out there that has done this, you know, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's like, eventually you have to go, okay, I'm done being a victim. You know what I mean? Like, you have to kind of just say that to yourself. But I love the end of this where it says it's okay to have a good day too. We might not have as much to talk about, but we'll have more to enjoy. And I think that's so fantastic, you know? It's interesting because, like, most days I have really, really great days. And I say, oh, I'm feeling so great today. I'm feeling whatever. And today I'm not having a bad day. It's just been one of those days. You know, it's been like one thing after another after another. I've been extremely overwhelmed today with getting stuff done, and we're getting ready to go on a vacation soon, and I had all these phone calls from different people that I was trying to talk to. Excuse me. And, you know, I just was like, and this is the victimizing part too, you know, like, where do I get my moment for me, if that makes sense? So, you know, this is kind of my moment for me at the end of the day. This, you know, 12 minutes that I got to sit down here and talk on this Peterisms video. So thank you for listening to me and allowing me that. And I feel calmer now and I feel much better, which is why the meditations always work for me, you know. But I was kind of feeling like that today. I was like, I'm helping this person, I'm helping that person, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing all these kinds of things, you know, which all of that's fine and well. And I'm, you know, but it was kind of like, okay, like, I want to be a little selfish with my time too. And it wasn't a bad day. It was just a little like there was a lot going on. And we're going to have days like that, right? Some days I'm so bored that I am just like, la-di-da, what am I doing, you know? So I should be happy for days like this. Mama said there'd be days like this. There'd be days like this. My mama said. All right, you guys, I love you, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.